moves us.
It's Power to Truth, migration on my mind tonight. And I've got Victor and Nhlanhla Lux as well as Asafika. We're going to go to Asafika now. Asafika, tell me about your report. Just big 2 or 3 big highlights that would feed into the current debate we are having now. What are South Africans saying about this whole migration issue? How do they feel towards foreigners?
Thank you so much for having me, JJ. Perhaps I should just start off by giving a brief explanation of who we are as an organization. So Afrobarometer is a pan-African, non-partisan survey research network that provides reliable data on African experiences and evaluations of democracy, governance, and quality of life. We work all across the African continent in close to 40 countries. And in every country in which we conduct our work, we use nationally representative samples of adult citizens. And what that means is that all respondents are randomly selected. The sample is distributed across provinces and urban and rural areas in proportion to their share in the national population. So every adult citizen has an equal chance of being selected, making our methodology statistically robust and in line with industry standards for surveys of this kind. I should also add that we conduct our interviews face-to-face and in the language of the respondent's choice. And this particular study that I'll be presenting on tonight was conducted in South Africa in May and June of 2021. And what we found through our survey is that fewer than half, that's about 45% of South Africans, say that people living within the Southern Africa region should be able to move freely across international borders in order to trade or work in other countries. We found that only a slim majority, that is 51% of South Africans, who say that in order to protect its own citizens, the government should limit the free movement of goods and services across international borders. So we also found that opposition to free movement of goods and people is higher in cities than it is in rural areas. And it also increases with respondents' education level, ranging from just 36% of those with no formal education to 56% of those with post-secondary education. And its opposition is also higher among older respondents than it is among younger respondents, with the exception of those aged 65 years and older.
All right. In the context of this now, would you say, right, that they're creating laws like labor laws that exclude foreigners from certain jobs would be something that is a sentiment that is generally welcome, or it would fall foul of those kind of outcomes? What do you think, Dan?
Certainly, it will be welcomed by majority South Africans. As we speak, the stat says there's 66% of...
51.
66, it just came out.
Or 66 of what?
66% of young people...
Of young people.
Of young people that are unemployed in South Africa.
Yeah.
So when you speak about young people, we are not there to entertain the deals that Nelson Mandela had with Zimbabwe. We are here to entertain the reality that we're living in right now as we speak. And the reality is that in Soweto, by the way, I must also tell her something about stats. Yeah. Do you understand that the president's office is an office where you can use the information from the office as formal information to be used in any formal presentation, be it in a university or workplace or anywhere else. Now I need to also introduce myself to her. I am the president of Cyril Ramaphosa and everyone else who is from Soweto. I am the president's president. I am Nhlanhla Lux, the president of Soweto Parliament. The information I'm telling you is not my opinion, it's information from Soweto. Yeah. So when I speak, I don't speak my opinion, I speak facts. I speak facts from the ground, I lead people on the ground, and what I say it matches reality on the ground.
The survey is saying it's not an overwhelming majority of people who want foreigners out.
Yeah, but
only 51.
Okay, look.
It's just slight majority.
Look,
that's what she's saying.
Look.
You don't agree with that?
What I like about what she's saying is that even if it was 50.001, for the fact that the majority, we live in a majority rule state where the majority rules. So if she's saying that the state that she comes from with the research is saying that South Africans are saying that they do not welcome this reality that we're living in now and things should be done better from policy to practical, then I don't need to be saying anything. She said it herself. South Africans, this is what they want, and me as a leader must make sure that South Africans get what
Victor,
South Africans
what's your
want.
interpretation of that survey? Surely it's giving us some insight into the thinking of South Africans, which may have been a worry before, because there may be people who thought maybe almost 99% are saying foreigners must get out of here.
Yeah, you can hear she is stratifying the sample. She's saying young people, majority more than just 51. People of this age, 51%. And that tells you, that's where the desperation is. The young people are unemployed, yes, especially if you are African or colored, if we use the demographics. So African and colored males, young men, are the most marginalized, Stats SA told us, out by the job market, which means if you are that demographic, and that's the demographic he knows, Soweto, and then you go into Eldos. So I can understand what he's saying, but I'm saying to you, remember the one bullet thing. You have an economy that's not growing. Remove all immigrants, the economy will still not be growing. So I'm saying to you, yes, you've got skills of lobbying, you've got skills to organize people, you are a charismatic person, which means you can speak to people and they listen. Look for info. So let me give you an example. Soweto households. What if we could say, hey, there's no employment here, but we could create a solar panel company that is owned by Sowetans, so that every house in Soweto is a solar panel. And those panels must be manufactured here. They must be transported by... You see where I'm going? It will solve your other problem that I know you're passionately addressing, of lighting. But you'll be saying, hey, Eskom, I don't want your power because I've got my own grid now. What have you done? You've created an IPP. So I'm saying you can take your bullet, and I don't mean the literal bullet, you're not going around killing people, right? You can take and say, let me tackle the problem that will make the irrelevance of all these others to be an issue. So I'm just saying, you have energy, you have intelligence, you have the masses. Speak the language that will make sure that we solve the problem that next year and the year after we are not saying, oh, now Nhlanhla Lux has twice the number of people who are disillusioned, because that is now a recipe for the war that even you can't contain. When we get to the level where the deprivation is so high, then it's socio-political instability. That's Somalia. Now Somalia,
let's pack it there.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, let me hear. Asafika, what's your own view about, what that survey means in as far as how we tackle the issue of migration?
Thanks, JJ. I think that it's very important to make clear that what our mission is Afrobarometer, is to give a voice to Africans in public policy making. And what our survey makes very clear is that 51% of South Africans say that we need to restrict free movement within the Southern Africa region, but also it reveals to us that the sentiments that have been populated by some political leaders about South Africans, the majority, the overwhelming majority, in fact, of South Africans being completely against free movement, is completely false. Because as we see, a large minority of South Africans, that is 45%, say that people living within the region of Southern Africa should be able to move freely across international borders in order to trade and work in other countries. And that is a significant, significant percentage.
Nhlanhla, your retort to that?
Yeah, mine is simple. I don't want to undermine her.
Yeah.
I generally don't speak about things I don't know. She must give me a research and give me the back end of the research so that I can validate the research.
Okay, what is the back end?
The back end is how she conducted the research so that I can see the methods used. Because I'm not here to just to take people's theories. I'm presenting practical, real-life situations to you. Yeah. I am not here presenting research and back-end stories. I live amongst these people. I live amongst South Africans. I lead them on a daily basis. Yeah. So I am not...
And you think their sentiment is overwhelmingly against?
I don't think that's accurate. I don't think it's accurate to say that we've got 45% South Africans who are saying, hey, let's sing Kumbaya, let's forget about and welcome anyone and everyone.
That's what she's found in her research.
No, come on. I don't believe that by any means. And it's not me debating with her. I'm saying the reality that I live on a daily basis is what I will use as a source of debate. And the reality tells me that overwhelming majority of South Africans feel that South Africans must come best in South Africa regardless of any situation.
Victor is saying,
And they must
use that energy differently.
No, please, I can't patronize it. I'm saying that's one of the problems he could decide to tackle.
Yeah.
Soweto consumes how many loaves of bread?
Millions.
Exactly. If we just said, hey, Maponya Mall, I'm sure Dr. Mike Nkuna would agree that the malls in Protea, in Jabulani Mall can buy bread baked in Soweto by Sowetans.
Yes.
And milk is another. Eggs is another. There's enough space in Soweto to grow poultry, to bake bread, to produce dairy that will make sure that at least the economy of Soweto every day creates more opportunities for young people. And you will find that maybe in Tlanta, you will become one of those who say, now I want to move freely because I'm producing more milk out of Soweto. I want to sell into Zimbabwe. I want to sell into Botswana. You see, and I'm not saying you are going to change your tune because you are dealing with real problems.
Sure.
I'm simply asking, let's deal with the real problems. But on the other hand, okay, here's an example. South Africans are building a lot, right?
Yeah. They
use cement, PPC, Afrisam, Holcim, Sepaku. Now, the problem is all these companies really except PPC are owned by foreigners. And Sepaku particularly is owned by Dangote, part of it. Now, Dangote is the richest man in Africa. He can invest in Soweto and capacity to generate stuff like that I'm mentioning. As an example, you see where I'm going. So I'm saying there are solutions among Africans. And that's why, just to punt what we are doing on Wednesday, I'm in Limpopo now. The University of Limpopo is saying 10 choirs from all over Limpopo come and sing African national anthems to show that you want to know one another, you want to understand one another. Because I tell you, if you ask South Africans who are building houses right now to hire somebody to build their house, they might just find the skills they want are here or are not there. And if you want to build a house for your children, you're going to go with the best person. Now, the problem is, why don't we have people who can build or weld? When Gautrain was built, we needed welders from China. Now, welding, come on. You can train a person in welding and make it more sophisticated as you go along. So I'm saying the problems that, because he's an educated man, he can go to the heart of the problem and say, something about my country is undermining the HDI, Human Development Index. That's the sum total of education, health, security, the things that make life livable. And say, I've seen him go into schools to make schools workable. So it's not like he's showing up today saying, I'm just wanting to deal with this problem. He really wants to solve problems of society. When there was an attack on shopping malls, he said, wait a minute, not this property, not this icon. So I'm saying at least he has the charisma to get people to follow him.
Yeah.
Let's understand the economy as well and know that maybe, just maybe, and I'm just putting it out there, just maybe if he said, yes, we're going to have Operation Tudula for this, but we're going to have Operation Tudula for this as well, and for that, and for that.
All right. After the break, let's tackle that to say, what are the constructive ways forward? And so far, in terms of the approach you have taken with Operation Tudula, has that borne fruit? Do we think that that's the way to go, right? And where can we find resonance? The Afrobarometer, I'm sure you can tell me something else there, Asafika, about the economy and whether or not this whole thing really is about fighting for limited resources. If we get rid of foreigners tomorrow, will those resources suddenly become more? Or is that an illusion? We'll talk about that after the break. We're talking to